intensity and winning at this point in the season, especially?
It's extremely important, and we'll continue to take it game at a time. But just tremendously blessed to be able to win these 3 games, coach this amazing group, be around the people that we're around. It's fun. And it goes back to our defense once again. Herb Jones was incredible. DeJounte Murray is a heck of a player, all-star caliber player. He's doing a bit of everything for this squad right now with injuries. And Herb made it extremely difficult on him all night. And, it triggered our defense.
When Herb has success like that, does it fuel the entire team? Just mentioned defensively, but also offensively, make everybody want to get in there a little harder?
It does. It does. He's one of our leaders, and you can see his intensity to start the game. And I thought collectively as a group, sacrifice, the guys are going out there making winning plays, and they're playing for each other.
Trey, another hot night from 3. He tied his career high a few nights ago. Tonight, great from beyond the arc, but also did you feel like he went in his bag a little more and found other ways to score besides just that 3-point line?
Every now and then he'll go in his bag, but when he keeps it simple, like he's been doing, it's the simple leads to the spectacular. And Trey's shooting has been off the charts the last, maybe 5 or 7 games. It's what he's capable of doing, and his teammates are looking for him.
You had talked at the beginning of the road trip at a practice about really honing in, focusing on transition offense and defense, wanting to get better in those areas. Have you seen some improvement, something that you were looking to see on this road trip?
We're making steps in the right direction, and a lot of it comes down to quality shots and turnovers. When we take quality shots and we're have minimum turnover games, it doesn't allow teams to get out and run against us. We did a great job tonight, 18 fast break points. We only had 12 turnovers, so we won that battle as far as points off turnovers. That's going to help us.
Willie, when Trey was struggling a little bit earlier this season, I mean, did you ever have any doubt? Did you just kind of assume, even when that was going on, like he was just going to get back to this point?
For sure. I knew he was going to figure it out at some point. And, from time to time, I may talk to him, but him and Corey Brewer have done a great job of just refocusing and going out and doing the little things. That's what it takes sometimes when your shot is not falling. I've said it before, though. Concentrating on winning plays, winning habits. And it's a lot that you can do to contribute to winning without scoring.
DeJounte Murray, pretty quiet game from him. What do you think about just the overall defensive job you guys are able to do?
Herb Jones, he's incredible. His instincts, his toughness, his mentality to never quit, never die on plays. And he's one of our leaders in those categories. And it rallies our whole team when he's playing like that.
And do you get a sense certain matchups he walks into the gym like, all right, I'm gonna take this guy out? Do you kind of sense that mentality or attitude he takes to court in certain games?
That's every matchup, every day, every practice, every shoot around against the coaches. It doesn't matter. This is mentality. And some games guys will have decent nights, but for the most part, Herb is going to be right there and he's going to make it tough on any opponent.
And a few weeks ago, we were asking Zion about, getting back to 100%. He told us, I'm getting there the more I make plays that aren't normal. And we saw a whole bunch of plays tonight from him that weren't normal. What's it been like just seeing him kind of make that progress, taking those steps to getting back to where he can feel like he's 100%?
It's been great. It's been great seeing Z continue to progress throughout the course of the season and stack days. Credit to Z and Coach Aaron Miles, Coach Corey Brewer. Again, they're all working together. Our performance and medical, we're all working hard to make sure we do everything we can for him to have a successful season. And then credit to Z. He's putting in the work, and he's getting better and better as the season progresses. You guys see it when he's rebounding the ball, he's taking off in transition, lobs, he's scoring in a number of ways, and then he's handling the ball, making plays for his teammates. And when he's playing dominant like he's playing right now, we're tough to stop.
I'm also curious.
W's. How important is that to have that type of sustained success on the road to get to where you want to go in the postseason?
is consistency. So for us to go 3-0 on this trip, that's great momentum for us. Just got to keep it up.
Second in the NBA right now in road wins. That's a huge jump, huge improvement from where you were last season in hostile territory. What do you chalk that success up to?
Uh, the personalities we have on this team, we got some dogs, and I think we just thrive in away environments, and we just love the energy.
JV closing in on 8,000 career rebounds. That should happen at home next game or two. How important is he when he gets something like 8 boards in the first quarter like he did tonight? Does that help set a tone for you?
Absolutely. And then it gets JV going too. Because if he's getting rebounds, that means we're getting stops, and he finds the outlet, and we running.
I think a few weeks ago you said you'll know I'm 100% physically when I'm making plays that aren't normal. Do you feel like you're at that point?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just the stacking my days of extra conditioning over time. I'm starting to see some of those results, so I just gotta maintain and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, how does that? I mean, you scored 25 every night, but how does that change games for your team when you are blocking shots, getting steals, making those types of plays?
It allows us to get out in transition even more. It adds intensity on defense for us. And it's like Coach tells us in the locker room, it's fun. When you get a big block, a dope steal, it leads to amazing transition plays, whether it's a 3, dunk, layup, no matter what it is, just transition points. You guys have a great night.
Struggling. How mentally did you handle that to kind of make it out the other side and get where you are now?
I would just say staying even. That's been the biggest thing for me my entire life is not getting too high, not getting too low, no matter what happens. Because if you work hard and you treat the game right, eventually things are going to happen for you. And my entire life is not getting too high, not getting too low, no matter what happens. Because if you work hard and you treat the game right, eventually things are going to happen for you. And that's how they have been my entire life. So I just knew eventually I was going to get back out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have created or just generating a lot of looks off of Zion initiating the offense. How much, I guess, gravity does he have when he is an initiator of plays?
Yeah, he's one of the best players in the league when it comes to that. He has probably top 3 gravity in the entire NBA, and so I'm able to benefit a lot off of that because my man has a help, and if they don't help, then it's a layup at the rim.
And what do you think about just how he looks physically right now? I mean, he had a bunch of steals, a bunch of blocks in Philly, 12 rebounds in Philly, and then tonight, a lot of defensive plays.
Sensational, for sure.
JV coming up on 8,000 career rebounds. Should get it either this next home game or the next one. What does he bring to this squad? And when he does something like he did in the first quarter tonight with 8 boards, does that help set a tone for y'all?
No, absolutely. And I'll apologize in advance because he probably already beat 8,000 if it wasn't from me stealing boards from him. But, it's all part of the game. So, but no, he's a monster down there, and he's able to secure rebounds for us and finish possessions, which is a big part of defense.
Why do you think you guys have, I guess, defended at a really high level for 2 years in a row as a team?
Herb Jones. That's really it. I mean, he's an all-NBA defender, and he's the leader of this team when it comes to defense, and we just follow suit.
I mean, I know obviously Herb's a really big part of it, but like no one before the start of last season was predicting like the Pelicans to be a good defensive team, and now you guys are kind of doing it 2 years in a row. Like, is that, I don't know, surprising to you at all?
No, not at all. Like, if you watch this in training camp or in practice, like, you just see how hard we play. And I think that's the biggest thing on defense is about. It's just playing hard and then being smart. I feel like we've gotten smarter throughout the season and figuring out each other and knowing, like, when to help, when not to help. And so I think it's just been, the identity of our team.
This might be too soon to ask. Forgive me if so. Evan Mobley may or may not play. He's got that sprained ankle, but since he was on the all defense team last year, if he does go at home in the Smoothie King Center, is that a matchup you think Herb would especially get up for, or that would be interesting to watch unfold as he tries to prove his case that he belongs in that number?
I mean, I don't think Herb will be guarding him, if I'm being quite frank with you. But I mean, yeah, for sure. I think Herb really is just gonna take the challenge every single night and playing defense and locking down, no matter who is out there.
When you have two guys of that caliber on the court, how could that help his case considering you've got 100 global writers and broadcasters you have to impress? And unfortunately, sometimes the smaller market teams like the Pelicans, they just don't get the attention, even though guys like Herb have the stats and are putting in the work.
I mean, a lot of it you just gotta let the work show for itself. I mean, obviously we do our part in bringing light to it as well, but I mean, Herb brings his defensive prowess every single game, and the writers should see that he is a top 5 defender in the entire league. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
For all things Pelicans, y'all tuned into the Pelican Postgame Report. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Much love to the fam. Pelicans down the Hawks 163. Sorry about that. All right, we in this thing, man. Pelicans take care of business, man. We handle the business against the Atlanta Hawks. Push them on up out of here, 116-103. The Pelicans are 3-0 on that last road trip. Winning 4-0 over the last 4 games. Their perfect 4-0 winning streak. Could we push it to 5 coming up against Cleveland as the Pelicans come home for 3 home games, man? And they very well, I don't want to jinx them, but we very well could, if we handle it just right, we might be able to get a nice little winning streak going on before we get right into that late March area on the schedule. So we'll talk about it on this Pelican Postgame Report. I'm Big Q. We got Lex chiming in as well. Lex, welcome on in. Pelicans took care of business. You heard Willie, you heard Zion, and you heard Trigger Trey Murphy. Big parts of the win tonight. It was spectacular. Love what they did.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Big Q? Glad to be up in here. Everybody up in the chat. Yeah, I want to say something about what Trigger was stating about with Herb. I think that was Jen Hale who asked him why doesn't he think, I guess the fact that they're a small market team, that they don't get the attention like other teams.
Right.
And it's kind of due to the fact of, with Herb doing what he's doing. And I think best way to kind of address that, Nicholas Claxton, he kind of addressed that when KD and Kyrie were playing for the team. Like he was actually up for, I think he said defensive player of the year or something, or all defensive team. Like they were really talking about him. And when they traded KD and Kyrie, that all went away. And basically what it comes down to is that, this is a star-driven league. So your stars kind of drive that attention for a player like a Herb Jones to get that type of recognition. I mean, that's just how it is. But he talked about that a lot, that how, he was doing well. And once they got traded, all that just went away. So, I think that's the thing when it comes to, hey, your stars really got to show up and show out, because that brings the attention. That right there brings the attention, so that guys like Herb can get the recognition that they deserve. I was really loving what Zion was saying, though. I don't think he's all the way there either, but I mean, he's definitely on the right track. And I like the fact that, he's not complacent with where he is, that he wants to continue to grow and, just keep it going. And that's great. I think, and he said this a while back, that his number one thing was to be available. And I think we can all agree that he's done that. And, thus far. So we want him to continue that, because that's the biggest thing for him. And then when you add his production and him, his conditioning and just getting better and better defensively, I mean, he's really doing his thing. I think it's safe to say that we found our rim protector. For those who said we needed a rim protector, I think Zion's been doing it there. So, but yeah, that's all I want to say about what they had stated. Okay, to the game. The game, great game. Another one in the win column. No, Atlanta didn't have a lot of their key players. However, the Pels took care of business. Herb came out with his defensive prowess and really shut down DeJounte Murray, did not allow him to get into a rhythm from the jump, which was really good, because obviously when you have Trey Young out, you got to take away that next option, top option. So he did well in doing that. The ball was moving very well today. I love the hockey assists. I love those. That means that the ball movement is at an all-time high. When you start seeing those hockey assists, they just make a world of a difference. Yeah, I think the attack from everyone, that's another thing. Everything is starting to be balanced. Like, it's collective. The rebounding, the deflections on the defensive end, getting out in transition, everything has been collective, as well as the assists. It's been all across the board, and you really love to see that, because everybody's involved. Everybody is becoming a threat, and that's what we need from this team. Because the thing is, the defensive strategies for the opponent team are to shut that lane down. You see it in the boxes and elbows. You see it when they're, compacting the paint. They're trying to stop the paint points. And so when that happens, obviously due to Zion's gravity, it opens up opportunities. Look at the wide open shots that Trey Murphy was getting. And not just him, Herb Jones. Teams have to pick their poison. And when they do, it's going to be wrong every time. And that's what we want. When guys are wide open, they have to knock down those shots. And they did that. Same thing with Jose. Same thing with Najee. Najee had an incredible night. It was just a great balanced attack. I think guys were doing a better job of looking for each other. And if guys didn't have it going, it's like, do something else to impact the game. But I think just the balanced attack and everybody involved was really golden on tonight.
Yeah, the Pelicans were awesome tonight, man. They did a lot of really good things, man, from the stat perspective. And you're absolutely right when you talk about what happened with Claxton. That a lot of these writers are drawn in by star interest, which means, that's easily solved. The Pelicans have to beat these guys. They have to take care of business against these teams and put the league on notice. And then I think all this other stuff will take care of itself. Them getting the recognition. They get the recognition by beating the teams that they're supposed to beat and prove that they belong at the top of the Western Conference, and ultimately perpetually every year competing for an opportunity to be not only in the playoffs, but to be a real contender in terms of actually winning, dare I say, a championship. So, these are the things that young teams like the Pelicans that have to establish themselves. You got a lot of established teams that won championships before are poking at the Pelicans. How do they respond? So tonight, they responded wonderfully. Over the last 4 games, the Pelicans have overall been very solid. So 4-0, 3-0 on the road trip, which is fantastic for our Pels. Overall 21-13 away, and it's like several teams in the NBA that have winning road records. So that's showing you the Pelicans winning on the road, winning at home. They're showing you a balanced team that can compete, that can shoot, and that many times play defense. The block by Zion, not giving up on the play, going over there and knocking it, just batting the hell out of the ball, was a very good play. And those are kind of plays are reminiscent of some of the stars in the NBA. In particular, LeBron James does that from time to time. He'll chase that ball on and knock it the hell out the way. He won't give up on some of the, some of these plays at times. But anyway, getting into some of the team statistics and ultimately individual statistics, the Pelicans shot 57.3% tonight. Just ridiculous. 43 of 75 from the field. The Hawks were 38 of 91 for 42%. The Pels were 14 of 27 from downtown for almost 52%. 52% shooting from downtown, and from the field they were 57%. Ridiculous. 17 of 46 by the Hawks with 37 flat. Pelicans from the foul line got 22 times, went to the foul line in Atlanta. They converted 16 of 22 for just under 73%. They had 43 rebounds. The bulk of them was defensive. 39 rebounds for the Pelicans that were defensive, assisted at 32 versus 28 over the Hawks. 8-6 on the steals, 7-4 on the blocks, all Pels way. Now the turnovers was 12 versus the Hawks 11, 18 off turnovers versus 21 with what the Hawks did. And then of course the fast break points 18-15 by the Pelicans, doing their thing. Not a big break there, but you've seen the points in the paint battle was 56-38 with the Pelicans. So anyway, total special game by the Pelicans handling business. They got a little slow start in the first quarter, but ultimately they were able to turn it up and make some really good moves in the second and then into the rest of the game. They just turned it on and then never looked back on the Hawks. And of course, you see Zion he wasn't the leading scorer. It was Trey Murphy tonight. 28 points in 30 minutes. He was 10 of 18 from the field. He had 6 3-pointers from downtown, 7 boards tonight by Trey, plus 14 on the plus minus. He also had 2 assists there as well. Zion was the second guy, 27 points in 36 minutes. He was 10 of 14 from the field, 7 of 10 from the foul line. And you notice Zion starting to hit those free throws better. He's been working.
Yep.
He's been working.
He looks good, man. 80%, I'll take it.
He was 9 of 9. A game. What was that? Last game he was 9 for 9 from the foul line. I want to say, regardless of not. So you see, he's definitely working on that because that's a big part of his game. As they are giving him more fouls, he has to convert that at the foul line, and that will really make him pay. 20 points from C.J. McCollum in 31 minutes. C.J. a much better performance tonight. 7 of 14 from the field, 4 of 7 from downtown for Mr. McCollum. He and of course the Pelicans had 3 20-point scorers in the game, and everybody else. We had 1 10-point from Larry in 29 minutes. He had 10 points, 4 steals, 3 assists, and a couple of rebounds. And Larry was 4 for 4 from the field. He was perfect. A 7 performance for B.I. from 32 minutes, 3 of 9. Not all of that, but he only took 9 shots tonight. But he did give you 7 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds for B.I. 7 from Herb. And a total, Herb Jones was ridiculous in what he was doing out there. But he gave him 7 points, banked in a 3-pointer. And of course 30 minutes from Herb, and he did his thing. A couple of steals, a couple of assists, and a rebound. 4 from Val in 17 minutes, but almost gave you 9, almost 10 rebounds from Val tonight off the bench. Najee, 18 minutes, 7 points, plus 13 from him, 5 assists, 3 assists, 5 rebounds for him. And then Jose came in there with 6 points to add to it with 17 minutes of action. So the Pelicans playing 9 deep was enough to take care of the Atlanta Hawks, minus Trey Young. But the reality at the end of the day is that regardless of who you putting up there, they don't care if we banged up or not. If you come, if you lacing them up, we got to take care of you. So Lexxah, last thought before we transition to the Cleveland matchup.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the thing is, injuries are a part of the game. Hey, look, the Pelicans, we know about injuries. We definitely know about injuries. So it's like nobody cared about that. So it's the other way around. Like when the stars are out, that just means that the Pelicans they're supposed to win, and they're doing that. So, it is what it is there. Trigger is definitely doing his thing. He's really reaping the benefits of that Zion gravity. I mean, he's getting those open shots. I'm really loving the fact that Zion and Trigger are playing together, and they have that synergy and chemistry that we've been looking for. It just comes so natural. Um, Even when Zion almost lost the ball, he just kind of scooped it to Trey, and Trey just knocked it down. I mean, that's the type of stuff that you love to see. So I'm really glad that they're getting more and more opportunities to play with each other. But yeah, I mean, Trey was just he's feeling it, and it's coming at the right time. I think he did the same around the same time on last season. So I think right now it's just more. I think he's been like the leading scorer in the last few games, if I'm not mistaken there. Um, but yeah, definitely just like what I see. Point Zion is definitely in full effect. Just getting guys involved. I know Brandon point wise, he wasn't didn't score a lot of points, but he was still playmaking out there. He had 10 assists. So I mean, definitely, those assists, contribute to points. So he definitely did his thing, there. And then what Herb did doesn't show up on the stat sheet. I mean, what he did with Murray, just jumping on him from the jump. I mean, he did his thing. He stayed on him, contained him, and contained him just enough. It's just really good stuff. We had 3 players with 7 points: Herb, Bi, and Najee. Najee and Alvarado. I think their energy, and just being a pest is really golden for this team. They're just doing the little things. If it's knocking somebody off balance, making them second guess, getting a deflection, those are things that you can't measure. The heart, the will, the energy, you can't measure those things. And so when you look at it's almost like looking at the stats. It's not the same as watching the game. When you watch the game, you can see everything that they're doing. And then when you look at the stats, it's like, dang, it don't look like they did a whole lot, but they actually did. So just their activity makes a huge difference. So they really did their thing out there.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. Like I said, it was kind of off at first, but you're right. Those guys come in like a Najee and Trey. They came in and just helped really level up the Pelicans. And we see that from time to time. When Zion, he played early in the game, he was engaged in the game from the start to the finish. So he was really there. And I love that strategy when you get him involved. And everybody else, like with Trey got going, his shooting started to fall. So we're starting to see Trey. I think it's safe to say Trey is out of that slump that we've seen him in several games back. And just at the right time, because we really need these guys to be at the top of the game, because we getting ready to get to a real.
It's time. It's time. It's less than 20 games now, right?
Yes, it is. Let me count them down, Lex. I think I got the whatchamacallit up here. The schedule here. It is right here, as you can see right here. Let me see if I can kind of count them down right here. Let's see. All right, March the 13th. I see it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Is it 18 games? Is that right?
Okay.
I want to say it's 18. Let me count that again, man, to make sure y'all correct me in the chat if that's right. I'm counting 18 here. Let me see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. No, 20 games. There we go. 20. I'm sorry.
No, it's exactly 20 now.
20, exactly 20.
Okay.
So there we go. But yeah, this and the part of the 20 right here, like we're saying, we're showing this schedule right here, and you see the Pelicans return home on Wednesday against the Cavs. They started that trip. And of course, like I'm saying, we have a 4-game winning streak right now. The Pelicans could really put together, a double-digit, dare I say, double-digit winning streak, kind of add some more games to that lead there to help catapult them into a position where we're in the top 3 teams, because anything can happen in terms of the top. Some of these guys can start losing, and we can gain ground on them. We're facing a lot of teams like Cleveland. We're about to do the preview for the Cleveland matchup. Cleveland is missing a lot of their key pieces. Spider
Hey,
Mitchell.
but they are playing. Actually, they're playing well right now. So don't let that fool
They
you.
lost. I think they lost tonight, Lex. If I won't say,
Oh,
but
they
you're right.
did? Oh, okay. But
Let me
they
double-
had before that though. They've been playing well. They've been playing well, even without
Yeah.
those key pieces.
Yeah, they've been up and down over the last several games, and of course, like you're saying, that a lot of their top guys were missing, like
Mobley,
Mobley and
T. Mitch,
Spider, and even Strus is missing.
Max
So
Strus.
yeah, you got a few guys that's missing for me. Yeah, they lost to the Nets tonight by 19, and then they have a game against the Suns on the 11th before they see the Pelicans on the 13th.
Oh,
So they got,
okay. So that'll be a back to back.
so they got the Suns at home. No, they're actually their game is on the 11th. The Pelicans game is on the 13th. So,
Oh, okay.
but they got to come to us anyway. So finish up on our home and roll up, because they're that final game they play against the Suns is the final of 3-game home trip they're on before they hit the road for 3 games against the Pelicans, Rockets, and the Pacers.
Okay.
So so they got the Suns before they come and see us. So that'll be all good. So let's kind of look at that right now. Like you mentioned, still a dangerous team, and we know they're Spider Mitchell, Max Strus is there. These are all listed as game time decisions. Evan Mobley and all is listed as out for them, and they has estimated return time is March the 22nd according to the injury report. So you see Dean Wade, Max Strus, Donovan Mitchell, and Evan Mobley are listed on the injury report. The Pelicans are relatively healthy. We still have Dyson Daniels is the only one, and really this list says nobody on it, but we know Dyson is still kind of rehabbing from his injury. But outside of that, let's go into this. The Pelicans smashed this team down late December, 123-104, looking to kind of roll them up out of here. And like you said, Lex, it's a team that plays, they're up and down. They did beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in overtime.
And they beat the Celtics too.
They beat the Celtics by 1, and they're a team that's they lost to Atlanta, so they're kind of up and down team, to be honest with you. So let's kind of cover this. Let's talk about what the Pelicans need to do to get the dub against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, I'm gonna say what I always say. They got to come out with that energy.
Play with violence.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, dang, Big Q. I'm getting to that, but definitely want to come out with the energy, match it or exceed it, and in this situation, exceed is the biggest thing. Come out with the right mindset. Even though this team is down a few guys, look, you gotta jump on them early from the jump. So again, move the ball. Obviously continue to utilize the point Zion. Get in the paint. I know that Jared Allen is down there, but we have size that can contend with that, and that's never stopped Zion anyway. But and then look for the open man. Shots are going to be open. For Trey, for BI, for CJ, for all of them. They're gonna be there. We just got to push pace and really impose our will on this team. I think if we do those things, and again, choose violence. If y'all haven't checked out that flash report, go check it out, after the stream and everything. But I mean, yeah, definitely we got to continue to increase the aggression and emphasize that, hey, we're not, this team is not a pushover team. We need to be on the attack. I know about, obviously we want to see the middies and the 3-point shooting. But the thing is, when we are on the attack and we're putting the defense on their heels, we get to the free throw line. We get the other team in foul trouble. And the thing is, that allows the other team to be more timid as far as when they're playing defense. So we want to be the aggressor. We want to be on the attack. That's a good thing. That's what makes you a really good team, when you put that pressure on the defense. And we want to continue to do that, because that makes the game easier. Because we're not trying to play the game hard, right? We want to get easy shots. There's nothing wrong with getting easy shots, especially if they're wide open and they're there. So yeah, those are definitely the keys. And continue to do what we've been doing, but do it better. And then continue to break those bad habits. Obviously, shots may not be falling, but finding other ways to impact the game when shots aren't falling, to continue to get easy shots, because the game is a game of runs.
Yeah, like I said, man, we got to take advantage of these teams, man. They're missing their talent. They're missing some of their better players, and even if they were there, we got to smack them down. But most of those guys are not there. We got to take full advantage of this. Let's get 40 wins, man. Pelicans win the 5th straight game against the Cavaliers, first home game here of the 3. They get the dub. We climb to 40 wins on the season. Now we're still 3.5 back of catching the Clippers, but still in all, we're in the right place climbing. The Clippers also lost. So we kind of moving, trying to get up there and get into that top 4, top 3, top 4 echelon and just keep going. It's a lot of games remaining, man, and a lot of things can change. We have to just stay on code, man. Stay on code, stay aggressive. And like Lex says, choose violence. If you're going to go to the polls and vote for it, vote for violence for the Pelicans, man. That's what we need to take care of, man. We definitely need that, because that's the type of energy you need to meet the Miami Heat with. That's the type of energy.
Yeah. Oh, you took that right out of my head. I was thinking Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a few people there, Lex. Ain't no doubt about it. A couple of teams that we definitely need to handle up on. And there's a short list of teams that the Pelicans have to have in their memory of what the type of aggressiveness they need to play with. And we talking about from the player perspective as well. If the players are out there, Willie Green got to flow with that anyway. He's not going to disrupt that energy. Hope.
And that's what it's about, Big Q. That's what it's about. This is more so, and I think for most of the season, we've been talking about, how Willie is and how the team's taking on his persona and different things, and how he's laid back and cool. Like we got to switch it to the players. We got to switch it to them. It's like, you guys are the ones who are out there playing. You're out there. You feel the contact. You feel what they're doing. You see what they're doing. And it's like, hey, do like The Last Dance. Take it personally. Take it personally and do something about it. The thing is that Willie can't do anything anyway. He can't do anything. So, the best bet is to go out there, play your butt off, and play with a lot of conviction, a lot of passion, and get up in guys. Make them feel you and make them think twice. Just like when Kyle Lowry moved out the way when Zion was coming. Oh, shoot, I ain't trying to take that charge. You got to make them do that.
Yep. That's what he does too. But he ain't want no part of that.
And I was really feeling the fact that, Zion, I actually like the fact that he stopped playing in the middle of a possession and went up to the ref to talk to him. I think the ref kind of felt intimidated. But the thing is, it's like, that's how you get your point across. Really, I feel like Willie should back that. But, he'll only back it if he's called out about it. But, I've kind of accepted that he's not going to do that. But if Zion gets a tech every single time, I'm perfectly fine, because he's well within his rights. The thing is that, by him being the second behind Giannis in points in the paint, and other analysts have pointed this out. It's not matching up. The numbers are not matching up. You're telling me that people are playing perfect defense on him? Hey, man, go to the ref and intimidate their butt. Because, and because that's how you're going to get it. That's the only way at this point. They need to hear that message every single time. Like, hey, You need to do something. Yes, good job. You called that tech. Now that you've shown that you can call something, call it when I'm getting hit. It has nothing to do with my size. A foul is a foul. If someone reaches their hand, under your arm, around your arm, hits your arm, that has nothing to do with your size. Has absolutely nothing. If somebody trips Zion, that has nothing to do with his size. They tripped him. It's a foul. That's how this stuff needs to be looked at. That excuse, people need to stop saying that. That's not it. The thing is that they're just not calling it. We need to, just stop giving them excuses. I don't care about his Shaq-like body. No. If a man sticks his hand to try to reach for the ball and you get tangled up in his arms or hit his arm or whatever, that is a foul no matter who it is or how big you are.
Yeah, Lex, I think, and I've said this, I've seen enough NBA games this season with 20 games remaining in terms of what the Pelicans are facing to know that, if anything, they are not very consistent in calling the game from an officiating standpoint the way we're accustomed to them doing it. This year is something else. And the pattern is and it is being called according to body type, because my theory on this is that with all of the betting going on, the NBA has an emphasis on scoring more because they believe that scoring keeps people endowed and kind of attached to the game, and it keeps.
That what Zion trying to do? So that kind of works in his favor, right?
Well, I mean, and it's a point of it's crazy because it's a respect factor to a degree from the Pelicans as well, because they don't give Zion the respect a star supposed to get. I mean, you've seen guys that were, I guess, what was the Rockets game where you had second and third stringers getting fouls that he should get.
And yes, you said it. That's my problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but they're officiating the game not like we are accustomed to seeing from the past. This is something else. Like what happened with Miami and the Pelicans. I should have had more of an emphasis on that game because the referees didn't get any discipline for that. They were the ones that were responsible for how the teams were getting frustrated because the game was officiated in a way where things were way out of hand. And when they threw those guys out, and those guys, Jose got 3 games, the backup center got 3 games, all this kind of stuff. The officials that was responsible for the aggression that happened in that game, they had no discipline issue to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So they didn't do anything wrong in the NBA's eyesight. They weren't disciplined. They weren't talked to by the NBA. This is how they want some of these games officiated, and it's crazy, but. Could we be seeing a sea change over the last couple of games with the Pelicans? Because against Philly and Atlanta, Zion was 9 for 9 against the Philly game and in the Philly matchup. And he went to the line 10 times tonight against Atlanta. So over the last 2 games, that's 19 trips to the foul line by Zion Williamson. Could this be, it's a small sample size serving here. Could this be a sea change in terms of them seeing Zion and calling? He does approach them and talk to them more, like you alluded to. So could this be a sea change? I need some more to see, some more games to see.
They got a lot of making up to do, but I still feel like they're missing calls. It's like they're almost like they are making more calls. I'll give them that, but it's still not enough. The thing is, he's still getting fouled. And yes, I understand he is making contact. Well, guess what? It is a contact sport, and that's fine. Contact is a part of it. But if a guy is coming down on your arm, on your shoulder, pushing you in your back with their forearm, and it's very noticeable, especially when you're airborne, those are fouls that you still have to call. It is what it is. So they got to do more of it. And plus, I'm really not feeling how, a lot of times when Zion's airborne, he's getting pushed in the air. I don't know if anybody's ever been pushed while you're in the air, but there's nothing There's nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're going straight up, it's hard to catch yourself when you're airborne. So when you're getting hit airborne and he's falling to the ground, because a lot of times it's almost like he's being pushed in his upper body area. Everything is upper body. It's not below. That means you're leaning in the air when that force is coming in the air and you're falling and he's hitting the ground. I'm not feeling that. And he hit the ground a lot in that first half against the 76ers. I was, and so some of those I don't even think they called anything, which was horrible.
Yeah, there are a lot of missed calls for officiating Zion in the matchup tonight. You've seen Atlanta players literally, you can't put both your hands on a player. If you're a defensive player, put both your hands on a player and push him. And we've seen them get away with that. They did it to Brandon Ingram. They were allowing them to do that, to play aggressive with guys, just literally push where you can see arms extended, pushing the guys. So I mean, I don't like how the games are officiated, not just for the Pelicans, but I managed to see a few other games. I'm like, man, it's a league-wide thing where you see a lot of the support base are complaining about the level of officiating across the league. And I'm like, what, and when it gets to be a systemic thing, that's not the referees individually. They're being trained and taught to operate like this. So it's for Zion getting hacked and beat up on like that. That's just utterly ridiculous. And you're right. He lives underneath there. So he should be averaging at least a 9 to 10 foul attempts a game. At least the very least, should be that.
He should be right there with Giannis. Right there with Giannis.
Oh yeah. But
you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's number 2. He's right behind him. I mean, and you can look it up. He's right behind them. They're the top 2 as far as points in the paint. They attack the paint. And so if you attack the paint as much as they do, then you go to the line more. I mean, that's just I mean, it's not rocket science. You go to the line more. They're getting fouled under there. There's a lot of contact, a lot of activity down there. When the paint is like a small area. It's a small area compared to when you're outside, like a 15-footer, 20, 30. All those areas, they're larger. They're larger areas. But in the paint, that's where the most contact takes place. It's not rocket science. It's not hard to figure out. And everybody knows this.
Well, Giannis gets his.
Yeah.
Giannis gets his calls. Zion, who is right there with him, you're absolutely right, doesn't. So it's like his response, if you was to ask Willie Green that question, you know what he'd tell you? We got to earn it. He said that, last year?
I guess he did. And it's like, dog, that was like last year's statement. I'm going to need you to upgrade your statements.
I think he probably would update it a bit and said like,
no, he's not. Hey, you know what? It's like Mose and Jay Black were saying, like, Willie Green is Willie Green. He is he's set in his ways, set in his stubbornness, and he's gonna do what he's gonna do. And I think now it's just like I said, the Pelicans got to choose, violence and things. It's got to be the players. At this point, like, we're taking anybody who's not playing on that court. Okay, it's got to be the players. You all got to change this. You all got to earn this, because clearly Willie's not trying to lose money for Zion. He does not feel like he's worth it. And he's already pointed that out. So that came from his mouth.
Yeah, we covered that and talked about that. Now it's just one of those situations where that's the character type of Willie Green. He's not
and it's awful. It's awful.
Well,
I mean, Rahakovic, he cares about his star player.
Yeah,
he cares. I mean, you see it with other guys. Darvin with LeBron and anybody. You see it, but he just doesn't feel that way.
It's right. It's a different approach that Willie takes. He's not it takes a lot for Willie Green to get excited like he had you the gotta fight thing. That's like a culmination of like when he got thrown out when we show the highlights when him fussing at the referee. You know how many games it takes for him to build up that much for him to get agitated like that? We've
Or
seen
if he's called out by the reporters, because the only times that he's really gone to bat for Zion was when he was called out. They had to call him out. And so the next game he would respond. But it's like, Willie Dog, why does somebody have to call you out in order for you to back your player? Why? Like that's not good. Somebody shouldn't be like, hey, you're not doing your job. And that's when you start doing your job. That's not good at all.
well,
That's a bad recipe of you know what I'm saying? Like, dog, what type of coach are you? What type of friend are you? Dog, you got
but
my back.
Lex,
You know what I'm saying?
the quiet approach appears to be working. Zion was able to get to the line attempt wise 19 times over the last couple of games. So the quiet Willie approach,
I don't think that was Willie, but
he does and then it is also stuff behind the scenes that they talk about when they allude to some of this stuff. You hear some of the words salad from Griffin when he'll make
oh
mention
wow.
of that they'll say about Zion, not getting his fouls. And then they made mention of the fact that they talked to the NBA, which they put in paperwork and complaining about calls or whatnot. Zion, verbally, and you see him on the court visibly every
Yeah.
time he's tagged, is with his hands outstretched, asking them why wasn't that a foul? And
Yeah.
then between breaks, talking to them, just constantly in their face to
Yeah.
make them know that I'm here. I think that would work for him doing it, not being a nuisance, but just letting them know I was fouled. Him converting a basket and yelling "and one," in the referee's
Yeah.
direction. So this type of stuff is kind of training the referees to pay more attention to him as well. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but this is the NBA that we currently live in, where it takes all of that for a star player to get a call. He basically lives underneath there for him to get calls because they knock the hell out of him. He's constantly falling on the ground, which is why I'm like, man, damn, man, they beat the hell out of him just to get 7 to 8 attempts to the foul line. We might have to kind of address this thing a different kind of way. But he has been consistent in his approach, so I got to at least give him that.
Yeah. Hey, did you see what Philly wrote?
We got to keep what he says. Willie got to keep his money.
His money for his church tithes and offerings. Oh wow. You know what? Hey, I believe it. I believe it. He's like, shoot, I can't rip them off.
Willie's a good dude, man. Willie's all about the love doctrine. We
Man.
knew this. Come on, Lex. We knew this when Willie took the stage. We knew that it was all about a family feel with Willie. We knew it all. It was all about love. It was important for the players to become, kind of good teammates with each other. That way they play for each other. We've seen a lot of our young players that we've drafted, namely guys like Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. Those guys have reached another level in their game, especially Herb Jones has turned into a true 3D guy. I mean, Herb's defense was there. Now he's knocking down a three at a high clip. And then you have he's shooting himself. He had the slump. He's coming out of the slump. You're seeing Zion gain mature. You see BI just do what BI does. And CJ fits well with what he does, fitting in when he needs to between Zion and BI. When he needs to step in and score, he's getting those shots outside too, those open shots, and he's hitting a lot of those shots. So, and then of course you're seeing a lot of our bench guys come in there with that energy. Najee Marshall, Jose Alvarado, Larry Nance, those guys. The only other thing I would say that we just need to keep working on is to keep working with Valanciunas to get him involved more in some of these contests as well. I think that will help out too, eventually going down the line as we get closer and closer to playoffs. But everything outside of that, I can't really say too much about. Right, Slim says togetherness. There you go. That's the Willie Green doctrine of love.
So funny.
Lex wants to see violence and aggression, and Willie's like,
hey, like I said, hey, it ain't about Willie no more, man. The players need to choose violence. When I said Pelicans, I was talking about the players.
Well, this is the thing too, though, Lex. At the end of the day, it's gonna have to be about the players, man. Willie can't
Yeah.
protect them from Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler or some of these other guys saying the Pelicans are just flash in the pan. They're not ready for what we got. We're better than them. We'll beat them again when we'll see them. And nobody, and Draymond says that nobody's worried about the goddamn Pelicans.
Yeah.
That's what he said the first time before.
Yeah, he said it twice. He said it twice. Yep.
And then he says nobody's worried about the Pelicans, but for the first time, he says nobody's worrying about the goddamn Pelicans. So I mean, they take shots at you. The only thing is, can we respond when it's time to respond? Down the season, let's get back at
It's coming on March 22nd. It's definitely coming. There was one thing. That you said. Togetherness. Oh shoot! You know, some of the best teams they actually fight. They actually didn't like each other. So I just want to say that it works the other way too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does.
Not being nice to each other. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to be mad. You know what I'm saying? It lights a fire under your belt and things like that. So that's not a bad thing either. Y'all know how some siblings, for those who do have siblings, siblings do fight. It ain't all peachy and brownie and whatever, however you look at it. Sometimes you fight, throw tantrums and different things like that, throw bricks at each other. Sometimes it's good.
Bricks.
Yeah, that happened to my brother. So,
Lord.
They live out in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
That's why I said
that. Chunk this brick at your ass.
Hey, they still living. They still alive.
Tough ass siblings, man. Oh man, that's pretty rough and tough there, Lex. I gotta hear that, man.
And it was because of a basketball game.
God damn. He was chunking up bricks in the game, so he got the bricks at the end of the game. That's what happened, huh? Good Lord.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Hey, man. Help me to be strong and help me to be tough out on the court. So
hopefully you was the one throwing the bricks and not having the bricks thrown at you.
Oh no, they wouldn't have done that to me. It was my brothers, man. They got mad. Okay. Yeah, it was the brothers. Yeah. They better not throw no brick at me, but it's on if they do. You know what I'm saying? I got an arm on me too.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Playing dodgeball with some bricks in this piece.
Boy, Lex came up real, man. Came up real. But listen, man, let me tell y'all something, man. At the end of the day, man, I agree wholeheartedly. The aggression factor has to be ratcheted up toward the back end of the season. We got a really tough slate of games that's coming down here, man. And like we preparing, just Lex, just looking at some of those games and preparing, man, for what we getting ready to see, man. And like I said, 4-game winning streak. The Pelicans are 3.5 games back of the closest team, which is the Clippers, who lost. So we just have to keep doing it one game at a time. And it's definitely a winnable game against Cleveland. No disrespect to Cleveland. We got to handle business at home. Then we have the Clippers. We got the Clippers. So we'll have a matchup with them in the second of the 3 home games. And then the Portland Trailblazers, which is totally a winnable game. Hell, they're better than the stinking Spurs. The Spurs are 14-50. They already have 50 losses on the season. They stink. Then on top of that, at the end of the day, you're not taking a shot at Sean. But they stink right now, and it's pressure on them with Wemby that he wants to win right now. They're not going to be able to do that. So Wemby going to end up going somewhere else. So just taking a shot at Sean's a stinking rotten 50 losses.
It's his first year, and I think it's the Spurs. I think they definitely see what's going on. I think they'll make some trades. Obviously they've actually talked about Trey Young. Trading for him because the Hawks at this point, I think they got to make a decision with him. But there's been a lot of talks about him moving away from the Hawks and things. So that might be a thing. Of course, he's also been in talks with the Lakers as well. So but I think the Lakers are always gonna be in talks.
Regular cast of characters always doing the same stuff, looking to pilfer other people's stars, man.
Yeah.
They live in that stratum.
Well, they don't really. You know what? You know what's crazy? The Lakers, they don't really develop nobody.
Nope.
They really don't. They actually do take other people's stars. And I think it's kind of crazy because I kind of feel like with the Knicks, they don't develop nobody either. But they attempt to really try to take somebody else's star, but they just haven't been successful as the Lakers have. So
That's
that's
an
kind
that's
of interesting with these big market teams. And I say those two because, obviously they're the biggest,
right.
with the exceptions of, Golden State. But yeah, they never developed nobody. Anybody who they did attempt to develop, they ended up trading them.
Yeah, like BI. We got our guy BI, and BI is handling this business. And I don't know if they could say they developed him well. He got his start there, but they're an insatiable base that they have there, and they have
And
a
Larry
win.
Nance too.
Right.
Larry Nance played with BI in LA.
They got a win. They got a win now approach
Yeah,
for both.
that's always their approach. It's
Always
like
they got to win
y'all
right now.
don't believe in down years at
Nope.
all.
Nope. They don't play that. And that's why a lot of people got love for the Lakers, because that appeases a lot of the microwave culture of today. People don't want to hear that stuff about we got the 76ers trust the process nonsense. They don't want to hear that. They want to win right now. You have to bear results right now. And they do that. They bear results, like them or not. They're always in the playoff. Well, majority of the time they're in the playoffs. The Knicks got what they got. They're starting to compete again, but all of that's that microwave culture. That Janet Jackson, whatever you done for me lately, they got to have it right now. So a lot of people in those markets, they're not buying that wait and see crap. We're going to build up this guy. Nah, they traded RJ Barrett out of there. They brought in these other
They
guys.
sure did. And they signed him. Actually, RJ Barrett was the first guy that they had signed, I think, since Ewing, like re-signed for his second contract. It was something crazy like that. I was like, dang, are you for real? Like,
That's
y'all
how they-
just give away y'all's young pieces like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? But they did it. I mean, obviously they're playing well, but now the problem is, you got Thibodeau who's running his players like through the mud. Because a lot of his key guys are hurt right now. And Anunoby, Randall, I think what's his name? The point guard. I should not forget that dude's name. Yes, Brunson. I had a B in my mind, but yeah, Brunson, he just came back.
Right.
Yeah, he just got back. But you know what? I did want to point out something real quick that I just remembered. Willie Green has to be careful with Larry Nance. I know he loves Larry Nance. He loves playing him at that small ball 5. But if he's not careful, he's going to run Larry Nance in the dirt before the playoffs start. Like, this guy is fragile. Like, you don't want him to get injured. You kind of need to be more smarter with, playing JV, because I don't know if anybody's noticed, but he's been starting Larry Nance in that second half. And I kind of feel like he's kind of tinkering and revving up to maybe even start Larry Nance when the playoffs start and things of that nature. And that's cool, but like, you're playing Larry a lot of minutes. That's a lot of minutes. And it's like you were up really big. Like, you don't want to play Larry the whole time. Especially when, you look at Jonas. Jonas has been more available. He's stayed healthier longer. I mean, basically, you can say JV is kind of indestructible for the most part. Like, utilize him still because you're talking about a 6'7" guy and Larry Nance going up against big men, like bona fide big men. Like, they play their true 5s. And it actually takes a hit on the rebounding, but because the team is collectively rebounding, that kind of helps. But just to be able to utilize Larry like Willie wants to, he's got to be careful about that. He really does, because the thing is that we know Larry's his favorite guy to play, because of his lateral movement, his activity, and he really emphasizes what Willie Green is trying to do or wants to do. But that I think that's a huge concern. Like, you might want to kind of spread those minutes out in that time that he's out there, and really utilize Jonas. Don't just sit Jonas, man. Jonas is still he can still be impactful. He can still be impactful. So you just don't want to do that to your players, because you have to think about that. Got to think about that.
Yeah, over the last 2 minutes to kind of verify or kind of elevate what you're saying. Tonight it was 29 minutes against Philly. It was 27 minutes that Larry had. Prior to that, it was 16-15. But these over the last two games, definitely over 27 minutes apiece in each of the matchups. And you're right. Larry's minutes are up, and Big V's minutes not so much. So he got to figure a delicate balance in there to kind of get Valanciunas more involved early. Now, and that's the thing. Because to a great degree, and I'm gonna say this, and you respond, and then we'll depart.
Okay.
The Valanciunas thing, we already known, and it has been proven that if you get Valanciunas going early in the game, it helps his defense. It helps, he get him going offensively, helps his defense, and he plays a lot better. That's the whole point. Now, how they do that, and also have to get Zion. We know Zion's he's the top option there. But some kind of way going into getting later in the season into the playoffs, you're going to have to get Valanciunas going to help the Pelicans out, and then mix Larry in. If we can get our two big guys going, we'd be good. But you definitely have a lot of concern right there with Larry Nance and him getting worn out, and that's a good concern. It's a good concern. That's a really good concern, because he had no minute restriction for Larry when he came off that injury, and you could see
he played him right away. And it's like, that's why I said, his love to play Larry Nance is like, it's almost kind of like obsessive. Like, dude, like if that was Zion, he would have sat him down. It's like, dude, you can't do that. And then you look at how old Larry is, and then you're talking about that contact that he's taking at that age and just coming off of injuries. Like, that's a huge concern. You might want to utilize your indestructible big. I know a lot of people have their personal feelings on JV, but when JV is used correctly, when he's involved, he actually does a lot for you. He really does. And plus, not only that, at this point, JV is on the team. He's on the team. Got to use him. Got to use him. I know he has problems laterally, but guess what? Larry Nance has problems getting defensive rebounds. And here of late, the dude's been having Butterfinger fingers. Like, he can't catch the ball. So, I mean, both of them have pros and cons. The thing is that collectively, the team has to do a better job of rebounding the ball. And then, we have to find ways, just like we find ways on covering up flaws of other players on this team. We just have to make adjustments and help each other out. And that's the same thing when Larry's in the game. So it's all about, I guess, the picking of the poisons. But we got to use JV. We got to utilize JV, because that's just too much of a concern. Don't all of a sudden you use JV during the season, and now all of a sudden you're going to sit him in key moments. And JV is a walking double-double. We talk about the emphasis of rebounding. JV does get rebounds. So he's our best rebounder on the team.
Yeah, JV averaging over 13 points and 9.5 rebounds on 56.5% shooting from the field. Over the last couple of games, his minutes, 17 tonight against Atlanta. The Philly game was 19. He had 20 in the Toronto game, and the Pacers game was 26 in each one of the contests. So actually, the last 3 games, his rebounds, he had 10 against Toronto, 10 against Philly, 9 against Atlanta. The points weren't there, but the rebounds were definitely there. So getting him involved, it would definitely kind of complete a lot of positive things for the Pelicans. When he gets involved, you get him going. His defense is better. His offense is better. Everything seems to flow better. It takes pressure off.
It's
of
the
the
energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anytime you tapping into a player's strengths, it leaks over to other parts that are not as strong. And defensively, he gets his hands up. He gets deflections. He taps the ball out. I mean, he's able to do different things. I mean, and he runs the floor. Like JV does run that floor. So, I mean, like all that stuff is it's contagious. That energy just it's not just in one facet of your game. It leaks over to other parts of your game.
Indeed. Absolutely, Lex. You hitting on it. All right, so fam, that'll do it for tonight, man. Listen, our Pelicans have done a wonderful job over the last 4 contests. Tonight, they were able to smack down the Trey Young-less Hawks, but we got the dub regardless. They're on a 4-game winning streak. The Pelicans improved to 39-25 on the season. They're currently sitting at the 5th spot in the Western Conference. They're 2 games ahead of the Phoenix Suns, who's at the 6th spot. So we're not straddling the fence anymore. We actually need, I think we're about 3.5 games from catching the Clippers, who are just above us at 4. They lost. So it's going to be fun over the next 20 games. Got 22 old games left for the rest of the season. The next one up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we need to get that one to get the 40 wins on the season. So like where we headed. All right, so with that being said, we're going to cut out on that. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all, man, for dialing in tonight for the Pelican Postgame Report. Do us a service. Please feel free to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed. PPR representing the Pale Nation. We up in this representing the flock. So with that being said, we're going to be back on the Cleveland Cavaliers recap stream on the 13th, man. We're going to get that W there, and we're going to talk about it then.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to